All right, Nels. Okay, I was wondering if you would be interested in learning a technique to help work through stressors, problems, and just kind of work on those issues that just come up in everyday life.
Sure, that sounds great.
Okay, so what this technique that I'd like to talk about is called mind-body bridging.
Okay.
Mind-body bridging is it's a tool that we can use every day. Um, it's not as much as a philosophy as being aware and paying attention to your surroundings and recognizing when stressors come up, when these issues arise.
Okay.
So, to begin, what I'd like for you to do is I've asked for you to bring in some paper. Um, in the center of that paper, just draw a small oval egg-shaped circle. And
About how big?
um, just big enough that you'd be able to write something in the middle there.
Okay.
And what I'd like you to do is in the middle of that circle is just write out a problem or stressor um, that's been just been on your mind the past week.
Okay. Sorry, give me just a second.
No trouble, no trouble.
Okay.
All right. Now, without without editing any of your thoughts or feelings or anything, I'd like for you for the next 2 to 3 minutes just write everything around that circle just concerning that problem. And again, it's about just letting it flow freely without editing, just all the thoughts, feelings,
Okay.
concerns that pop up. We'll do that for the next couple of minutes. And anything that just comes to mind, just let it go onto the page.
Okay.
All right,
I think I am satisfied with my list.
sounds good. Okay, so first of all, what I'd like you to do is down below that, um, I'd like you to kind of, well, for you, how do you feel that your mind is in the state? Like the thoughts, are they cluttered? Are they clear? Do they what are your thoughts like?
You want me to write that down?
Yes. So you can
Okay.
just like write down mind and what your mind does in this mind body state.
I don't know if this last one's really a word.
What is that?
This last one. I don't know that it's a real word. I put avoidant.
Avoidant. Yeah. All
Mm.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now next, write down the word body, and I'd like to ask you what what does your body feel like? Note any tensions in your physical being, whether it's in your face, like tense shoulders, furrowed eyebrow. It can be even a feeling in your gut. Whatever it feels like, your body feels like.
All of those things you just said.
Everything. Those are just some common places that sometimes we harbor those feelings. It just shows up in those in our bodies.
Okay.
All right. Now, the final question I'll ask for this section is describe how you function in this mind-body state. How do you act? Cool. Okay. So now we've got that. This is the first half of this exercise. What I'd like you to do next is let's go to a new piece of paper.
Here's the old one, in case you wanted to see it on camera. New piece of paper.
New page. Now we'll do the same thing. Put the same circle with the same problem as before in it. Now this time we're gonna approach this in just a little bit of a different way. So now what I'd like you to do before you start writing is take a moment and bring your mind to the attention, like to your senses. Pay attention to the feeling of yourself sitting in your chair, the feeling of the pen in your hand, just being in this room at this time. In addition to that, I want you to bring your attention to the sounds of the room, whether it be the traffic passing outside, the sound of a clock, or the sound of
my wife making dinner.
Of your wife making dinner, that sizzling of the meat. As you write, pay attention to these things, these sensations, and as thoughts will naturally come to your mind, recognize that they're there and gently but firmly bring the attention back to the senses.
Okay.
So when you're ready, go ahead and start writing. And again, as you're writing,
and remind me, am I still writing things that I'm worried about or that I associate with this?
Yes, exactly. Just write about the problem while paying attention to the sounds and the senses. Essentially, being in the chair, your feet on the ground, the pen in your hand. And again, without editing, just letting it flow. Noticing the feeling of the couch that we're sitting on. Sound of the traffic and the cars passing outside. And again, as thoughts come, just bring the attention back to the senses.
Okay.
All right. Now, we'll do this. Write down at the bottom again with the mind. What are your thoughts like in this mind-body state after doing this map? They may be different. They may be the same. Just being aware of how the thoughts are.
Okay. And then doing
and then
the same
next
thing.
is for the body.
Okay.
Notice body tensions, or if some of them went away. Just recognizing what your body felt like while doing this map.
Okay.
And finally, how do you function in this mind-body state? What differences did you notice? Or were there any differences?
Okay.
Okay, so now let's take a moment and let's compare the two maps.
Okay.
Now, Nels, for you, what did you notice was different with your mind, how your thoughts went?
So, my thoughts the second time around were a lot clearer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were still kind of bouncing around a lot.
Okay.
My like both the first and the second time, it was like thoughts were just coming at me from everywhere, and it was kind of hard to kind of narrow in. But the second time, the things that came up were still worrisome, but more positive. Things like being nervous for the future, but also being excited.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the first time it was just like, oh my gosh, life.
Oh, right.
So I'll share that the thing that's been stressing me out is graduating soon.
Oh, okay.
And so just like the second time, I wrote more things like being excited to graduate with Julie and looking forward to the next stage, but also that there's still so much to do. But it felt more like a determined I have things to do than just a oh my gosh there's so much to do
Oh, okay.
kind of a deal, if that makes any sense.
So noticing that difference of, well, maybe it sounds like that kind of flows into that the next part, the differences of the body.
Yeah.
Kind of that not only mental tension, but then we recognize the body tensions. What did you notice about those?
So my neck was tense for both, but that might just be my posture.
Okay.
My head relaxed a lot the second time. I had a lot
Mm.
of tension going on in my scalp. I'm doing a lot of hand motions.
It's all right.
But and then my legs relaxed the second time around. My feet were really tense the first time, but my legs were relaxed a lot, which was good.
That's really neat to notice, as like kind of just paying attention to the body and recognizing, oh, I guess there was some tension there, like
Yeah.
in the feet, the top, the scalp, even. Um, and again, it's just recognizing that those things are there. It's We're not saying that it's bad to have that there, or that it's good to not have this tension. It's just recognizing that those are present. And let's go to the last one. Your functioning. How do you feel you function with the different maps? What are the differences there?
So in the first one, I was very frustrated, very scattered. In that usual mindset, I like to avoid my problems. Like there are things on this first map that I just don't want to do,
Okay.
and I would much rather do anything but them. On the second map, I slowed down a lot, and I was very driven. I was still kind of erratic, but it was more driven and a little bit slower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it's interesting to notice the differences when we take that when engaging in mind body bridging.
Yeah.
For a little more explanation on this, mind body bridging helps us recognize a few specific parts of ourselves. It's ever present, but these activities help us recognize our I system or our identity system.
Okay.
Now, the identity system is a mechanism that when overstimulated, overactive, it interrupts and hijacks our true self or our higher functioning.
Okay.
What that means to say is our true self is all of who we are. It's our wellspring of knowledge, of goodness, of full functioning. And a good way to explain this, but just kind of to show it, we have here two vessels.
Okay.
This first one, it's filled essentially to the brim with what would be a problem.
Okay.
This represents our I system, right? It's full and completely, just about like filled completely with this issue, and it's
almost overwhelmed.
That's about all it can take. And when our I system is running, when it's going like this is how kind of our mind is, our body is. It's kind of it's in this space. This is all it can take. There's only a little bit more for other things than the problem.
Okay.
Now, when we engage in mind-body bridging and recognize that the I system is active, we're able to recognize this mind-body state and open ourselves up. So in doing so, we recognize that the I system is active, and we engage the use of our whole self, our true self, as I mentioned before. This is our executive functioning. This is our full capacity to deal with these stressors. The problem hasn't changed. Kind of how we were looking at this graduation process, we're just able to step into a different headspace and open up, I guess what you could say, instead of being stuck in our head and focusing on the issue, having the I system kind of cycle and cycle, it opened up the rest of the body, coming into the senses, recognizing those thoughts. And by doing so, we're able to note some of those differences, as you mentioned, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to explain those a little bit more, these activities that we've just done. We engaged in two in particular. First of all is the physical mapping. By doing, this is called thought mapping. We take the problem and we're able to write it all out. Note just, like, again, everything that's going in the mind, and it just flows onto the paper. And then by doing so, we are able to recognize more of those elements of the I system. We befriend it. The goal is not to eliminate the I system. It's to recognize that it's there and work with it to enter into, like, the I system is default. We're like, oh, there's stress, we got to deal with it, got to work with it. Entering into the executive functioning, or the true self, allows us to notice the problem and work with that space, being present.
Okay.
And that was the second, the second not the second map, but the
Second state of being.
like yeah, the what's the word? Bridging. The next bridging activity we used was sensory awareness.
Yeah.
Paying attention to the tactile sensations. It's odd. It's strange because like we're always present. We're always here. But we're always in our heads like thinking of the future, thinking about the past. It helps us recenter and be in the moment rather than being caught up in the problem. That is by recognizing the feelings that, tactile sensations, listening to the sounds in the room, like Julie cooking and whatnot. What was it like for you to listen to those things, to feel the pen and whatnot?
It was really kind of fascinating. I mean, listening to Julie cook was fun. I felt more connected with her and what's going on in the room, even though I wasn't doing anything. Um, it's weird when you stop and think about how your clothes feel on your body. That's a weird experience. You're just like, I'm wearing things.
Clothes.
Yeah. But so that was good. I liked thinking about how my back feels on the couch because it's like I'm just kind of sinking into it. It's a really fluffy couch. So
even I'm recognizing I'm getting a lot of shoulder tension just how I'm sitting.
Kind of relax back into it, and it feels really nice.
Yeah, and even just by recognizing it, you're able to see, oh, I'm kind of tense right now, and just kind of flowing that into what the issue is.
Yeah.
And that's where the third bridging technique comes into play, and that's thought labeling.
Okay.
Thought labeling is recognizing that thoughts are there. A simple, I guess, a simple statement to go about recognizing these thoughts is, oh, to better state it, the I system latches onto thoughts. Um, let's say being kind of stressed about graduating. What were some of the first thoughts you were having in the first match?
It's like, oh crap, I got to talk to my advisor, and I hope I haven't screwed anything up.
Okay.
And it just like.
So it just kind of jumps on it, and there's like, okay, we got to work on this and this and this. Sorry, I just noticed the time. So to finalize on this, so the I system jumps on the ideas. To help work with that process, we can use thought labeling, which is a way of just noticing that thoughts are there and then letting them be. One way is to say, I am having the thought blank.
And having the thought that I should talk to my advisor.
I should talk to my advisor. And allowing that to be there.
Okay.
You can imagine your mind as kind of a framework in which the clouds of your mind, the thoughts that wisp in and come through, like, I should talk to my advisor. Allowing it to float in and continue through instead of grabbing onto it and being like,
I haven't done that yet. What am I going to do? I'm a terrible person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even that statement there, it's like, I have to do this. I'm a terrible person. Just gotta do something. Allowing that thought to be there. Because the truth is, the stress is mine, but I am not my stress.
Got it.
By engaging in these three bridging activities, mapping, like thought mapping, thought labeling, and sensory awareness, we're able to recognize the I system and engage and stop it from hijacking the true self. Step into our all of who we are, our executive functioning, and be in that space to work with the problem.
Okay.
So Nels, do you have any questions about mind-body bridging?
I think you've answered them.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and coming in today. And before I end, I want to emphasize that practice is what moves this process forward.
Okay.
Doing the maps and practicing the thought labeling and recognizing the thoughts and recognizing our senses. Practicing allows this process to become stronger.
Sorry. But thank you.
And with that, thanks for coming in, Nels.
Thanks.